JB here. Hope everyone's doing outstanding. March 23rd, 3:25 on this fine afternoon. Talk quick about the market. Some names I'm looking at go from the S&P in the green, up 1.4%. For some reason, doesn't feel like that to me. But a nice relief rally. The Dow, I guess, is on track for its best session in 6 weeks. And yeah, good. I hate Gap Mondays. I think I posted on FinTwit in the chat room earlier today. It's those days. It's like the markets, they open at highs, and then pretty much most of the stocks that I'm watching hit the highs right at the open, and then it's kind of been a premium crush. And then if I'm trying to play for bounce or whatever, it just doesn't work out. And every time I go to look at the same position in contract that I was looking at the open, they're substantially lower. So it's one of those days frustrating because it started week ready to make some trades, and then it just doesn't. It's just I hate not happy to not make trades, but then looking at it, I'm thankful I didn't go and chase the open. So and not only that, then the names that I added towards the end of the week, and I'm not in much, but the solar names are taking on the chins and energy names. So it is what it is. Uh, so S&P is higher. Yield. The other thing is yields, right? And yields were lower at the open and then reversed. The next thing you know, almost looked like the 10-year was going to start to rally into the green, and then the VIX, and it's only down. VIX only down 4% today, and the VIX in context of where it normally trades at 25. So that's still very high relative to where it should be. And I just to me I just don't have the conviction confidence today. It's not one of those days where I'm ready to go and like buy the dip. I don't. When I say buy the dip, my market's up 1.3%, but it's like we're still right there, right? 1% down day tomorrow. We're back at lows. So that's just kind of how I'm feeling right now. So, I get messages, oh, quiet day, you're not doing much, or you haven't just I'm looking at stuff. I'm always looking, always trying to find some names that I think maybe have some opportunity, especially some of these names have been beaten up. But again, they're not showing any life today. Reddit, too. I'm looking at the 160s today. I almost pulled the trigger. I think they were 55 or 60 when I was looking. And, it's sitting here, it's 140, 141, and, got up to 144 at 11:30. And I almost pulled the trigger. And then I'm like, let me just wait to see if it holds. And it's actually still in the green. I actually showed a little bit of life just a little while ago, but those are 25 cents now. So if I put a bid in, I might be able to get filled for the 160s more than half off of what I would have got them earlier in the day. So um, you would, if using that rationale, it's like, then why then I should be adding those 160s at half off, right? If you think about it, right? So that just shows you my level of confidence in the moves here today. So with that being said, right, I wouldn't be surprised, and that this situation in the Middle East doesn't escalate again. That there's not all of a sudden there's a news event overnight or on Wednesday that this island is under attack and U.S. troops are on the ground, right? That these are the things in the back of my head, and if that's where the scenarios that might play out, it's just not an environment where I want to be holding too much overnight. So, with that being said, and then on the flip side, I'm looking possible put hedges, right? And considering I don't have too much on the call side, put hedges don't make sense in regards to having a position just to offset calls. It's to try to also make profits on it. And I'm looking at ASML's probably the one that I might look to get some puts on, but that far out of money, like the 1190, maybe the 1200 puts. But it's like every time we get a decent or a slow, just a little bounce on the SPY, boom, the puts don't make sense. So just until I get conviction, it doesn't make sense just to trade, just to make trades, and I'll just continue to look for opportunities. 655, the big spot here. We got down to 655 at 12:30, held that, boom, all the way up to almost 660. You just hope. So the positive outcome here in the next day or two is that there's actual verifiable or whatever conversation between the U.S. and Iran, something to the effect that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, right? Because if there is that light, confirmable, what have you, then I think the markets will find a little support. The other side is my worry is that the market's kind of passive. We're at the path of no return. So yield's going to go up, market's going to tumble, and then we're just going to have to wait it out. So I'm hoping it's not scenario number two. Considering where some of these names have fallen, I mean, I'm not going to look to get. I don't think I'm going to look to get puts on some names besides Visa and Mastercard. Just maybe some of the financials, but even that today, again, I'm looking at Visa. I'm like, do I get the 285 puts? And it's like a rock today. It's up 1.5%, but barely trading. So, barely trading enough to offset premiums, just eroding premiums. So, JP Morgan too, right? Sitting here at 291. Do I 275s? So those are the things that so you can understand my rationale and wrap my head around. The other side is I always keep talking about gold, right? So if I was overnight sitting there, gold's down 10%, I'm a hero, right? And I've had gold puts and boom, it almost got, I think it was green for a little bit. It's only down 3% now. So that's the other side. Do I get some GLL calls? And GLL was, I had the 24 calls from last week expiring, right? There it is, all the 2360 a little while ago. So that might be a way to play the gold. So with that being said, then there's other names I'm looking at. AAOI, right? J-Rock's bringing that one up. That optic side. Take a look at light. So those might be names to get some FOMO calls, right? AAOI all the way down into the 80s and bounced, sitting here at 95. The 120s sound crazy, but maybe there's some continuation this week. And same with GLW. I was looking earlier at GLW. So anyway, so I'm going off in tangents. So that's kind of overall markets. And yet, just take a look at the yields. Take a look at this 10-year, right? It just doesn't. It's just those are the back end of things. People don't they don't look at all the big picture, right? And then sometimes you see the market selling off, and you're like, why is it selling off? It's because you get to the point where and the big, there's like all these stories that are going on behind the surface, right? You see the big headlines, but the private equity, right? The redemptions, people trying to get out of these, these funds, then they only allow 5% redemptions. And, that's all backdoor kind of things that you don't really hear or read about, but it's like when the tide goes out, right? Brings up all these, all the junk, right? When all of a sudden the tide goes out and it leaves all the junk there. It's kind of like some of the things you read about. So, whether that there's always things that that are left behind when the tide goes out, but it seems like right now we're in an environment where there's more junk out there than there was. Sorry. Sorry. Ooh, sorry about that. But when yields continue to head higher, those situations, the private, the debt market, that it's not a good thing, right? It's a lot harder for folks to raise capital if they need to and things like that. So all right, rants for other days. So just names I continue to look at, and I talked about Reddit, the 160s. It not doing much here. The Roblox, so I still have the 65 strikes. The funny with the Roblox, I look at it, and if I didn't have calls already on the on Roblox, I'd be adding more. And so that's one half of it. I mean, it's got to move. It's not moving right now. So the point for me is I'm not adding it because it's moving. I'm adding it because it's going to move at some point. I want to make sure I'm in a position when it does. that's Reddit. That's Tesla. So then the energy names. I mean, disappointing here today with Enphase, SolarEdge. SolarEdge getting destroyed today. It's like a different day today. I don't doesn't jive to me. It doesn't make sense. There's no downgrade. It's down 9.5%. I don't know if it's the oil story, and that's why it was rallying over the last 5 or 6 days. I don't think that's the case. It hasn't really traded in lockstep or in reverse with oil in the past, and all of a sudden it doesn't make sense. So I'll be looking at SolarEdge at some point to revisit, because like I was saying on the rant this morning, and I've said in the past, it's going to go on a run, and it's going to go 50, 60, 70, 80 bucks, and it's going to happen quick. So I thought maybe last week was the start of it. Probably needs a pause. And then Enphase too, right? Enphase just getting destroyed. No news, no catalyst. Same with First Solar. Well, the news is catalyst is oil selling off, but it's like these names are heavily shorted. So I think because of that, these shorts use it as an excuse to kind of pressure the stock. And so, with that being said, that one's down 6% today. Take a look at, I don't know, I have the chart up here. So that's that. I'm trying to think of some of the other names. There's the Reddit. Oh, NKLR is hanging in there. Kodak back over 820. And there's Reddit back at 140, right? So it's like frustrating to watch Reddit. To like, I still don't. It might need like lemonade, needed an upgrade to get going. That's probably what Reddit needs. Other names like Roku, like take a look at Roku today, up 5.6%. No news, no catalyst. One of those rallies on Roku is going to take off and not look back. It's just, again, you just don't know if some headline is going to change things overnight. And I don't want to be in a spot where I'm, adding a lot of positions only to see those positions not go the right way because of some headline, right? And that's kind of, unfortunately, that's the environment we're in. So got to trade the environment we're in. You can't force things just because I think Reddit should be over 200 bucks already. Roblox should be substantially higher. I mean, take a look at Lemonade today. I was looking to play it again, for the move over 70 bucks, but the premiums are nuts. So it's sitting here at 67 bucks. Its 50-day moving average, I think, is 69 and change. Just came up today and hit that and pulled back. But then you try and play calls, and I'm, oh, maybe the 75s. But again, I'll wait till tomorrow. Those are 25 by 40. So I'm not giving any meat to my rant here today, but I'm just trying to get you to understand my mindset and some of the things I'm looking at. Because, if I want to just trade at the open today, it'd be a very miserable day. And it's funny because then, you know, people come home and wow, market's rallying. Yeah, Dow's having its best day in 6 weeks, and I'm in calls and you lose money, right? So it makes it more frustrating to watch. But that's it. Those are the names I'm looking at. I was almost looking at VKTX today, right? Those are names like, buy when it's cold, sell when it's piping hot. VKTX, like one of these days, it's going to have another one of those rumors or some kind of catalyst, some data. I don't think it has any data due. But this morning you have HC Wainwright reiterating their buy rating, $102 price target on Viking. What's funny about VKTX, I would say it's funny, but all the analysts have price targets 70s, 90s, $100. And that's the same NKLR, a similar situation where price targets 18, 20, $25. The stock's sitting at 487. So, you know, riddle me that. How does that make sense? But again, some of these names, whether it's, maybe, I don't know if there's buyout premium in some of the Viking analyst ratings. But anyway, that's it, folks. Have a great day. I'll be back. Rock and roll.